I got addicted to the divine love because it was like, oh my God, it's so incredible. And it really took away all my hunger. And it was like a glimpse of, hey, this is possible. And that has led me on a lifetime journey of being open to experientially ground into that same energy more consistently, knowing it could take away all human hunger. This has been about a journey about, is there free energy available that can eliminate all human hunger, and what does a hunger-free planet look like?
Jasmuheen is a global educator and author of 42 books, including the award-winning Chronic Nourishment, which shares her inspiring story of living without the need to eat food since 1993. In this wide-ranging conversation, we explore the boundaries of human potential and what ancient wisdom traditions have long claimed about the human ability to sustain on source energy alone. Jasmuheen calls this source feeding and has used this to go without food for periods as long as 14 years.
At the moment, we have about 250,000 people, 220,000, I think, with this freedom. They've clicked into it and it works for them. And we've got probably about another 500,000 in training, but most are very private individuals who are just pumping up this source energy, its purity and its power, because this energy flows through us, through that 99.999% space in an atom. We've all got it. So when that becomes pure and more powerful, we lose all hungers.
Jazz shares that your capacity for this type of potential comes down to shifting your personal vibration.
How you spend your time determines your frequency, which determines which zone of reality is possible for you. We know if you're in a beta frequency brain, cannot play this game. If you go through alpha, not deep enough. It's like the knee deep in the bath. You have to go into the theta brain frequency pattern, then that changes the whole physiology of the body.
Living this way has profound impacts for your lifestyle and creative potential.
I found I would put my body to sleep. I'd wake up half an hour later and I'd go, body, I'll put you to sleep. And it goes, yeah, but I don't need any more. Ta-da! So you've got, like I was running 23 and a half hours of a day awake. Yeah, the creativity. See, people in our networks, they get so fired up and their minds are like, whoa. And we've got 20 hours a day or more to play with. So we're either writing music, playing music, teaching ourselves musical instruments, not playing them well, but trying, painting, writing. Our creativity levels are off the roof.
Idea of pursuing expanded consciousness and the boundaries of human potential. Hey, Jazz, how are you today?
Really good and great to be with you. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for inviting me.
My pleasure. And I think where I'd like to kick this off is, how the heck did source feeding come into your life? This is a extraordinary phenomena that you don't really hear too often.
I know. You know, it's interesting because you can talk about an individual journey and you can talk about a public journey. And I know it may sound strange given my notoriety with this very controversial topic, but I'm basically quite shy and I never had this intention to share any of this globally, but situations occurred where that's what ended up happening. But I remember reading, and many people may have, that beautiful book, Autobiography of a Yogi. And in that, Yogananda talks about Giri Bala. And when I read it, I was so astounded by the love that was transmissioning off the pages, because I didn't know a book could do that. But when I heard about Giri, it was like, yeah, interesting, but I never was interested in doing it for me. Little alone did I know that's where I'd end up. You know, I was a computer programmer working in international finance, and gosh, I never thought I'd be a writer. I never thought I'd be public. I never, ever could have imagined this. So it wasn't a longing and it wasn't something I consciously sought. It was just something that the evolution of my own life led me into, just because, you know, I've been meditating since I was 16. And I'm nearly 70 now, so it's a long time ago. And the very first meditation I had, my whole body exploded with so much light and so much love that it was like an instant revelation of, you are not a 16-year-old girl. You are so much more than you could imagine. And then I got addicted to the divine love, because it was like, oh my God, it's so incredible. And it really took away all my hunger. And it was like a glimpse of, hey, this is possible. And that has led me on a lifetime journey of being open to experientially ground into that same energy more consistently, knowing it could take away all human hunger. And that's our interest. This is not a path of, oh, let's turn everyone on to no longer taking physical food, although if they were to cut back a lot, go vegan, do intermittent fasting, it'd be good for the planet and them and their health. But this has been about a journey about, is there free energy available that can eliminate all human hunger? And what does a hunger-free planet look like?
Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, it's, moving out of this mindset of scarcity completely when it comes to solving the need for food, that really does fundamentally shift everything.
Yes, but it's a pattern of energy that's going to take a while to be anchored more among the masses more. At the moment, we have about 250,000 people, 220,000, I think, with this freedom. They've clicked into it and it works for them. And we've got probably about another 500,000 in training, but most are very private individuals who are just pumping up this source energy, its purity and its power, because this energy flows through us, through that 99.999% space in an atom. We've all got it. So when that becomes pure and more powerful, we lose all hungers. But most people in the world are like, no, I'm just here to survive and pay the bills and take care of my family and create a nice life and maybe express the best version of myself, So we have patterns of energy we need to ground in the world and accept and feel the benefits of before this will become a more acceptable pattern. But the research is being done.
And, for people that haven't heard of this before, how precisely does it work when you kind of click into this frequency? How does the relationship with food change?
Look, we've noticed that in the beginning, when we began working with this, and I guess I went public with this in 1994, so 30 years ago now, we've noticed over the time that people have become a little too fixated on the physical aspect of it and not understanding that people's addiction to this outside-in feeding is huge. Many people eat for emotional body reasons. It's like the pleasure and everyone's lined up with taking physical food with so many activities like dating. Let's go out to dinner, even a funeral, there's food, even the birth of a child, all celebrations are connected. So people have a deep emotional pleasure to the flavor and the socialization around food. So we really have to take care of people's emotional hungers in a different way. And that's an aspect of this too. Then we have people's mental hungers, and people feed themselves with a lot of limited educational patterns, which give half the picture or a chapter of a bigger picture and not the whole. It's not holistic, our education system, not enough. So we need good mental nourishment. And the first thing is to come into an open-hearted, open-minded state to think, maybe this is possible. Maybe let's do some research. So if we do research, we can track this back to close to 6,000 years ago when it first emerged in China among the Qigong masters, the Taoist practitioners as well. Like even in Taoism, you can move energy around your body, circulate it in the microcosmic orbit, and you can take that creative life force energy that creates babies and that heart energy of love and that spirit energy and mix it around like a mix master and completely change your frequency pattern so you're transmitting balanced energy and attract more balanced people. That's an ancient technique. But the Qigong masters with Bigu, they said that they can hold the frequency, and they went into the frequency through meditation, but through living in a high chi field. So everybody knows when you're out in Mother Nature and you're vibing and having a good time, the electromagnetic frequency of Mother Nature washes through you and around you, and it heals you, which is why people say, go chill out in the countryside or go sit at the beach for a while and you'll get recalibrated. So there's Mother Nature Chi. And the Bigu masters said they couldn't hold the frequency when they left the mountains and went to the city. Just couldn't, because the frequency was different. You could almost say that they were feeding still from the outside in, from Mother Nature Chi. And then 4,000 years ago, somehow it flipped into India with the yogis in the Himalayas. And then from there it went through to the West, through the Western saints, etc. But we're working on this on another level as well. So it's not a new phenomena. It's just been a phenomena people see as reserved for special ones. And my work is to say, I'm not special, but guess what? If you tune yourself in a certain way through formula, that's what we're looking for, duplicatable methodology, a formula that allows your human personality self to align more with your authentic nature, your essence self. And when they merge, then the essence self becomes more dominant. Just a natural byproduct is you lose your physical hunger. A natural byproduct is that you lose your emotional hunger. A natural byproduct is you lose your mental hunger. And it's not because you know everything, but you know what you know when you need to know it, you know? Because you have this endless source of love and wisdom and power that's vibrating through the whole human biosystem construct.
Sounds amazing. And I heard you talk about where you reached a point of kind of in your life where you had a lot of difficult things happen and you opened up to, okay, I'm ready for something different. And at that point started to kind of have these ascended masters instruct you, it sounded like, in a way.
Yeah.
I would love to hear more about what that experience was like.
You know, I am a normal person, sort of. I've just chosen to spend my time differently to a lot of people. But I came from a line of visionaries. You know, my grandmother line, my maternal line, they're all healers or psychics or palm readers, or they had that activation of higher senses, as does everybody. We've all got that. We just don't live the sort of lifestyle to kick it into top gear. We're all clairvoyant. We're all clairsentient. We're all clairaudient. You know, we've got that. And I came in with a lot of that happening. So I was aware of feeling these invisible ones around me right from the time I was a kid. I'd often hear voices in my mind to tell me to move quickly when I was in a field of potential danger. And that started happening more and more when I began to meditate at 16. So everyone has this capacity, but, you know, I went on, often ignoring that inner voice. You know, we all have gut instinct and we don't always listen. And then it's like, wah, and we look back and we go, I wish I had listened. And so over time, you learn to trust your gut instinct more. So by about 1993, 92, I had this intuitive voice saying, move on now, come on, it's time to get out of the corporate field. There's something else for you to do. But I was raising children, they were at school, they had they were coming to the end of school, and I was like, go away, I'll do it when the kids are educated, I'll do it when they're all grown, you know, because I need money to pay the bills. So it's like, annoying little inner voice, go away. And then eventually I just got kicked because I was out of alignment with what I should have been doing. And within a few weeks, lost the job where I was working, lost all my money. Somebody I loved was killed in a car accident. Someone else I loved was taken out of my life. My parents both were really struggling with health issues. And then I was told I had cancer. And then it was like,
Wow.
I felt like I was on my knees going, I'm listening. What am I meant to be doing? And then I found my favorite technique. Are you ready? Works so well. My favorite technique is help. I don't know what I'm meant to be doing. Help, I'm listening. You know, it's like life slams you sometimes when you're meant to move out of one pattern of energy and into the next, and you've been dragging the chain. And I didn't realize I was meant to be involved in this global pattern of experiencing source feeding myself and then writing about it, researching about it, taking all the research of the yogis and the Qigong masters to another level again, and just sharing it as a possible, once we understand it, eventual, perhaps, free energy systems. Sorry, this one's wants to join in. See? Now go down. Anyway, I know. And so, you know, like having a free energy system available that can have such an impact on global resources and our environment and climate change and redistribution of resources just to eliminate hungers in our world, you know? But that's what happened. So, yes, help. But by that time, I'd already had some of these light beings in my field, but then they started to just zoom on in, and they'd come in as a flow of energy into my bedroom when I was meditating, and they started to show up a lot more and a lot more intensely.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And, you know, something that I know inevitably that will come up for people that listen to this conversation is, how is this not more well known? I mean, has anybody tried to study you or any of the people that you work with the
Yeah.
traditional scientific methods?
Yes, I was involved in a lot. And like at one point, we'd set up this experimentation in Germany, and we had a couple of hundred people willing to be test guinea pigs for this who were doing it too, because I always felt it wasn't about me. It's about a group and the differences, because we're so unique as individuals. And the pathway we recommend, a lifestyle that works for me, does work for most people, but there's extra ingredients that we need to click in. And that may be a bit more humility, and maybe a bit more patience. So originally we would try to set up these things, and we had a director of this medical facility who was so on board. But when the board found what he was doing, they sacked him and said no to our experimentation. And every time I tried to set it up, I got thwarted in some way. But then it became obvious to me it wasn't my job. My job was to be the researcher, to write the books, to explore the methodology. And other people like Prahlad Yani, who the Indian yogi didn't eat or drink for about 80 years before he passed on, he had full testing. Dr. Michael Werner, the biochemist in Germany, had full testing. Hira Ratan Manik, the solar gazer, had full testing. And between them, they've spent years in hospitals, different hospitals. India, then America, because America says we don't rely on Indian protocol, you've got to do it with us. But generally, most of the time, the findings were not released to the public. And when I first came into this, and the Ascended Master Saint Germain invited me to the global stage, and I was like you, I said, no way, I'm not doing this. And he just said to me, that's fine, we accept, but can you morally live with yourself when every second, you know, a child is dying of hunger-related diseases, you have a potential formula to eliminate that, and you're not prepared to share it with people? And I was like, all right, because I said, there's no way I'm going out there and talking about this because I'm going to get slammed. And he said, yes, this will challenge the billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry, the billion-dollar medical industry, because no need for drugs and generally we don't get sick. It'll challenge the billion-dollar food industry and you're going to reach 0.0000001% of people and you're going to get slammed a lot. And I went, no way, I'm not doing it, till he said this moral issue. And then I just said, well, if I'm going out there, you guys have got to walk beside me every step of the way. You really do. And honestly, for 7 years, I had so much grace and so much protection and so much support, because when something is beneficial for an evolving species, it's not going to go away.
But it's fascinating to hear that it sounds like this actually has been studied. It just has been largely suppressed.
Totally. Because look, where does the pharmaceutical industry go if all they've got to do is research a few things, but they're not constantly pumping out drugs for heart disease and obesity and all of that, when most of, like, we know the research, and the research coming in that I really want to promote is the research with being vegan. Like, just going plant-based, you can eliminate 95% of Western diseases. What? And I'm not talking about pretendo plant-based fake meat. I'm talking about non-processed plants, legumes, etc. 95% of disease in our world can be eliminated just by lifestyle and changing diet. And then you have intermittent fasting, whereas if you just narrow it down, say you go plant-based, and then you narrow your diet down to a 7-17 window where you only consume food within 7 hours, you kick in, and this is studied, into a phase called autophagy. Now, autophagy is where your body goes, ooh, my master hasn't got food. My master's got to get super fit to go get food. And it scans through your body and it eliminates every rogue cell and every underfunctioning cell and every diseased cell to heal the body so you can come into strong warrior mode and go get that food to survive. So intermittent fasting also eliminates so much of the diseases in our world, eliminates a lot of heart disease, obesity, just so, cancer, lots of things, just by these two things alone. So I'm trying to educate into step by step by step by step. We need safe, duplicatable methodology that will give you a really healthy system before you even look at doing this. But you have to look at coming into physical health, coming into emotional health, coming into mental health. Like if people say, this girl's nuts, this is impossible, well, for them it is. Bye. But others will go, hey, I've heard about this. Now, how do you do it? I've heard what the others do, but how are you guys doing it? And our work is to find a duplicatable model, because when I started to talk to people like Prahlad Yani when he was still in his body, Wiley Brooks when I met him, Hiratan Manik when I spent time with him in India, here is a system of solar gazing, which I do. It has limitation because if you're in Norway and it's winter and you get 2 hours sun a day, it's really hard to absorb enough of that solar energy through the eyes to maintain this. So it has limitation. Prahlad Yani, he was a child and he was walking through the Himalayas and he met 3 goddesses who, for whatever reason, they touched him on the lips and said, from this moment, you will never need to eat or drink again. And he said, immediately, if you put your tongue up behind the front teeth, about that far in, there's a little ridge or a hole. He said, immediately that switched on and he got this flooding of divine amrita, which is what the pituitary gland produces, never ate or drank again. But that's not a duplicatable system. How can you command goddesses to come and touch everyone on the mouth and switch it all on? That's so what we are looking for and have found a simple duplicatable system that we share a lot of in our online course on the alchemy of source feeding. But everyone's unique. But is it possible? For some, no. For others, maybe. And it's like, I like to describe it like here's a bath full of water. And you can stand there and go, not dirty, not going anywhere near that, not interested. Off you go. Others go, ooh, and they go and stand beside the bath and they go, ooh, maybe I could get in. But they're not ready. They're just being educated. And then others get into the bath and they're knee deep in the liquid and they go, it's not working. It's like, no, honey, you've got to lie down and you've got to immerse fully in the frequency that can eliminate every hunger you have. And that's lifestyle, because how you spend your time determines your frequency, which determines which zone of reality is possible for you. We know if you're in a beta frequency brain, cannot play this game. If you go through alpha, not deep enough. It's like the knee deep in the bath. You have to go into the theta brain frequency pattern, then that changes the whole physiology of the body. So it's a science. It's a duplicatable way of spending time and clicking into the right brainwave pattern and being open-hearted and open-minded and getting aligned if you want, but many don't. But is it good? Now, is it beneficial? Oh my God. You're never hungry. You're never full. You're never empty, but you have this feeling of just rightness in the body. You get stronger. You don't get weaker because the nutrition is so pure. Now we're tapping into the energy that brought creation into being. So it's got vitamins, minerals, proteins, carbohydrates, everything you need, because it's the baseline frequency of creation that we're aligning to. Now, if this energy can bring a universe into being, it should surely give us breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Logic. But it's aligning, it's dropping deep enough into the frequency field for it to be a truth for you. And that is lifestyle and how we choose to spend our time and our coding too. One of the things we do a lot is what I call quantum coding.
I would love to hear more because it sounds like there's a composite of choices and activities that make these potentialities possible. And some of them are more practical, like choices you make and how you live your life. But it does seem like there's actually particular practices that can facilitate this. And I have heard you talk about quantum coding. So I would love for you to explain what that is.
Quantum coding, like to me, I'm going to go a bit out there, so bear with me. But to me, I have come to understand in the five decades of my meditation that everything is holographic. We're in the Matrix. Go Keanu Reeves, go through the Matrix movie, all of that. We can align in beta frequency brain into the Matrix, or we can go into a different version of Earth through the alpha brain, a different version, a different hologram through the theta, where different things are possible. In our reality, in the reality of many, we know that what we focus on grows, and this is a universal law. And the science is simple. We are a system of energy. Energy transmissions out, attracts like frequencies and returns to its originating source. So when we put our energy on a particular reality, we get bound by that reality. But we have this unified field of infinite possibility that's vibrating through us that we can code to bring certain realities into being, because it is all holographic. So one of the codes we may use for this is, if this is for my highest good, to be a hunger-free human being this life, then I ask that I align to that perfect pattern of energy that is perfect for me, that is for my highest good, and that it all manifests in the right way in time and in a way that's beneficial for all sentient life. lock this in and make this my experiential truth. Yes, yes, yes. See, my guys would say, love those words. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. And then it's like, you've said this. See, yes, yes, yes is the alchemical tool of coding, where you're saying to quantum, hey, don't manifest my random thoughts because that could be dangerous. But this is an intentionality of how I want to exist. Like you set in place the code that I want to walk through this world, transmitting a sort of frequency that is for the highest good of all sentient life. Make this my experiential truth. And the quantum field goes, okay, may not happen instantly, but it will happen. You'll start to get aligned energetically inside and outside so that that code can manifest. Why? Because it's beneficial for human evolution. So when you're coding for something that's beneficial for human evolution, this unified field of benevolent intelligence pretty well always honors that. But when you're doing the me, I want, give me a nice house, I want a car, I want lots of money, give me the perfect girlfriend, la, 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 then you might get it, you might not. I like to code for everything that's beneficial for human evolution. Like, what if you code that from this moment on, I exist in mutually beneficial relationship with everyone I meet, and their presence brings out the best in me, and my presence brings out the best in them. And this is how I want to operate, communicate from this moment on. Make this my experiential truth. Yes, yes, yes. Some of your people will be going, yes, yes, yes. And some will be going, I don't know, wow.
I'm laughing because I'm like, this kind of coding sounds a lot more interesting than writing software.
Oh, it is. Oh, I love it. I've become a cosmic coder rather than the computer programmer making rich people richer. It's so much more satisfying because it works, because I see people's lives change. You know, for me, just to go, help, I don't know how to handle this. Like, you know, I've been married a long time. My husband and I have lots of kids between us and grandchildren who are all grown. And along the journey of raising kids and helping to raise grandchildren and having a long, 4 decades long relationship, there are times where you go, oh, help, I don't know how to do this. But I know the end result. And the end result I want is that I want to have my presence bring out the best in everyone and have their presence bring out the best in me. So teach me about family harmonics. I need to learn because I don't know. And so you're connecting into this infinite intelligence that's everywhere, that is so benevolent. It's around us, it's flowing through us. And it's like this supreme mind, this cosmic computer of which we're a little plugged in laptop. But we got the same software.
I've heard you talk about how you've learned some of this from, I mean, it sounded like kind of off-planet intelligences. I've heard you mention the intergalactic council, some things I've heard about but don't know a ton about. And I'm interested, just like, what is that process like? Is that something I've heard people talk about that happening during sleep? It sounds like you've had some of these interactions in meditation. Where does that information transfer occur?
Look, if you look at everything as holographic, then I would like to posit that there are 8.5 billion movies of reality vibrating on Earth right now. Every single human being is surrounded by their movie of reality of their own creation. Because again, our education, what we give time to, energy, thoughts to, we keep drawing from the quantum field. This is just an established fact many are aware of. And it's also the universal law of resonance. So everyone has these little unique vibratory patterns of movies of reality on planet, but there are also much bigger matrices that vibrate in a different hologram, a different movie of reality, because all sentient life lives in a hologram of their own creation anyway. So let's say for me, I connected in when I was 16 in the matrix from the Vedas. I was taught meditation by an Indian guru, and the techniques worked. And for me, I spent 20 years applying the wisdom of this Indian Vedic lineage. And then one day I'd integrated it, and it was like once you've integrated something, it becomes complete, but your vibratory signature has changed, and so then you might gravitate into another hologram. The next hologram I found myself pulled into, you could say, or matching, was the Ascended Master hologram, where we received this whole guidance and understanding of source feeding and the work that I've been doing for a long time. But once I integrated what they were sharing and what I needed to understand from then, I was given the opportunity actually to leave the planet. I chose to stay, and because I'd finished my work, and I said, if I stay, I'm going to need a new job. What's next? Because I want to stay. And they gave me a new job, and the job was prepare them for contact. And I went, well, we do that because number one contact must be with your authentic self. Number one contact must be the merging of higher and lower nature, because only then are we completely happy as a human being, completely free of hungers and limited patterns. So when I merged into that, then I was suddenly in this matrix connecting as a telepath and clairvoyant, clairaudient with the intergalactics. And then once that was integrated, I moved into the current pattern that I clicked into with COVID, and that was beings from the unified realms. And these are beings who live in deep unity, absolute love, honor, respect, all aligned, all at one with pure nature. And that's an energy where Earth is being drawn into now because people want it. See, at the end of 2012, let's talk about change. Things shifted for me in 1987 with the harmonic convergence. In the harmonic convergence, we had 150,000 people meditating with an intention that it was about time we learned to live in peace. Now, if you can imagine 150,000 people meditating on this, that strengthens the portals of possibility. And I noticed immediately a shift in my higher abilities. Then in 2012, the media were talking about the end of the Mayan calendar and is it the end of civilization as we know it? And people were like, oh, what if it is the old way ending and a new way beginning? What do I want? 95% of people on earth, when contemplating, said this: I want to live in peace. Surely we can redistribute resources. Surely we can take care of basic human rights. Surely we can take care of the children of the world. Surely we can grow up and live in peace. And that was a huge, heartfelt, I want to live in peace. Don't know how, but it's what I want. And that opened up portals, strengthened and portals of alignment to the matrices where people live in peace. So I'm an ascensionist, so I'm supporting what we call a personal ascension, global ascension, and also a universal ascension, because I've done enough research to feel like that's a hologram I want to support. You don't have to support the war and horror and terrorism hologram. You can disconnect energetically, stop focusing on it, and start to focus on fulfilling what you were born to do, and do it with joy and ease and grace. End result: unity consciousness within you and within the world. Good game. Good movie. We play any movie we want.
It sounds like a good movie to me. And I think a lot of people might not be familiar with this concept of a holographic reality. Mm-hmm. And I think it would be useful just to have a little bit more explanation around, like, practically what does that mean for their life?
Okay, so let's look at human physiology. I wrote a book called In Resonance that is very basic, talking about the body as an energy system and so forth. And one of the things I realized is we are built to think before we feel. Now you can look at this and test it in your own life. Like, if you unhook from doom scrolling, if you unhook from looking at the global news, if you hold an attitude of anything I need to understand that's important for me will come to me, and in the meantime, I'm going to feed myself mental food that uplifts me and inspires me. And then you do that for a week. Like, what if you walk around for 1 week in an attitude of gratitude and then see what happens? Like, you can start with listing your blessings or everything you have to be grateful for. Great exercise. And every morning you get up and you read out your list of what you have to be grateful for. I'm grateful for the fact I live in Queensland subtropics and I live close to the beach. Thank you. I'm grateful the sun shines. I'm grateful for my children. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for my loving partner. I'm grateful for being human on earth. I am grateful for. And every day you start recognizing what you have to be grateful for and focusing on that. And then you begin your day. Firstly, you begin a day with a heart full of, and this unified field goes, there's a grateful little puppy. Let's give them more to be grateful for, because like attracts like. So everything we're talking about, you can go through experimentation. Like I found when I was about 13, how would I feel if I went vegetarian? Because I felt I didn't want to be involved in taking meat. So I said to my mum, I'm going to control my diet. If I get sick, you can interfere. If I don't get sick, leave me alone. So I became vegetarian. Immediately it was better. I got more mental clarity. I had more energy. I was better at sports. I was better at study. Then at 16, I began meditating, and oh my God, what a difference. I started to get detached. I started to be able to act rather than react in life. And the benefits were like, I was dropping into peace regularly. I was no longer so affected by what was going on around me. Play, experiment. Then I began yoga, and it was like, oh my God, my body feels so good with yoga. So what we're saying to everyone, don't believe what you hear or read or see or anyone tells you. Play, play, play with your own energy. Experiment and feel the difference. 1 week. No thoughts, but thoughts of gratitude. Every time you get a negative thought or this world is crazy and what's it coming to, bring it back to, yes, it is, but I am so grateful. Fill your heart with gratitude every day. Do things that bring you joy. Like I love to ride my push bike. It makes me feel like I'm 5 years old again. So I ride my push bike. I have joy watching a sunrise. I have joy catching up with friends and chatting. I have joy playing with my cats. I have, like, every day in your 24 hours, make sure there's a time slice for joy. And most adults don't do it because you get so busy raising kids and working and making money. But we control our reality. This is what I mean about weaving yourself into a new hologram by your thoughts, your perceptions, and how you choose to spend your time. That's holographic creation. Instead of doing this, like I met a man in Europe a long time ago, and he was a conspiracy theorist. So he was always sending out through his vast network all the negative information about conspiracies all around the world. And everybody was feeling more fearful and feeling more separate in the them and us game. And I said, do you really love your family? Oh, yeah. Do you really love your network? Oh, yeah. I said, well, why don't you send them information that creates unity rather than division? Why don't you send them information that inspires them and up-levels them and allows them to live in a very different hologram? Because every version of earth that you can imagine is here. When Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is here, it's like, show me. When Buddha said the Pure Land is here and it's inside you, show me. Show me. This was one of my questions. Show me the truth of all the wisdom of the wisdom carriers and the holy ones. Let me experience what they're talking about. I'm ready for this. And the quantum field goes, well, okay. Now, I couldn't learn it through Christianity, but I could learn it through Eastern tradition, through meditation. So show me how I can be in this world where I bring out the best in humanity, where humanity brings out the best in me. Show me the kingdom of heaven on earth, if that is true, if that is here. Align me so I can experience it, not just read about it. But you see, I'm unusual. I have these thoughts. Not everybody does.
What strikes me is a lot of people, myself included, have just been conditioned not to ask.
I know.
Like the idea that you would have the audacity to ask for some of these things as a person. That's something that I have faced.
One of the ascended masters, when they were giving me an opportunity to do something, and I went, no, I'm not worthy. I'm no one. And this one said to me, beware of false humility. False humility has stopped more people than you can imagine on advancing on their spiritual path. And false humility is a patriarchal control system mechanism to keep us in fear and separation. I'm not talking about ego here. We're not coding through ego. We're coding that from a point of saying, if our world has been filled with these holy beings who've come and in truth spoken about much the same thing, if what they're saying is true, then please allow it to be a real experience for me rather than a mental construct. I'm asking with humility. I'm asking to experience who I really am beyond the personality. I'm asking to have an experience of my own divinity that is so incredible it will knock my socks off and I will never have doubt again. I am a citizen of planet Earth, and I am asking to experience the version of Earth that the Holy One spoke about, called the Kingdom of Heaven. Tune me and align me so that that can be my experiential truth. Lock this in, make it real for me, and the whole universal forces go, yay! Another one's finally asking. So you can be as limited by false humility as you want. You can be as limited by patriarchal systems or matriarchal systems or the matrix that Keanu was escaping from as you want. Or you can just go, done. Don't want to play there anymore. It's just a movie. Done. Show me the next movie. Show me a better movie. Show me a movie of unity consciousness. Let me experience unity consciousness within myself. Let me see it in the world.
It seems like a key inflection point that you talk about is just the doneness with duality. Reaching a certain point where you just don't want to play that game anymore. How does that show up in people that you work with? And when would somebody know when they're at that point?
I think it's an inner restlessness. Like, okay, so let's play the dual-natured game and patriarchal systems or whatever. And it's like, okay, you can work, get lots of money, you can buy a nice home, you can get married, you can have children, you can travel, you can do all that. And you can do all that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But then when you get it all, it's like there's this, psst, there's more. In the silence when you're on your own, there's this, psst, there's more. And eventually, psst, there's more shows up in your life as a vague dissatisfaction, as a vague of, I thought this would make me happy, but it doesn't. See, I was lucky because when I moved to the Vedic understanding and the Indian traditions, the first thing my Indian guru said was, never be dependent on anything outside of yourself for your happiness. Because if you lose it, where are you? If anything external goes, where are you? And all of the holy ones will say the source of infinite happiness lies within you. And it's a byproduct of alignment with true nature. But that's been my experience. Could it be yours? I don't know. What if you change your diet, lighten it up so you've got less digestive energy in that, and that digestive energy can go to higher facility support? What if you start meditating to change the brainwave patterns? What if you start doing yoga to open up the chi channels? What if you choose to engage in not random acts of kindness, but daily acts of kindness to everyone just because you can? What if you choose to spend time in the Mother Nature chi fields and be rebalanced by her energy? These are steps you can do and you go, wow, I feel better. Wow. Because if you go back to First Nations people, they will teach you that mountains speak, water speaks, air speaks, earth speaks. What if you just get into silence and you hear the voice of that beautiful inner beingness that's giving you the gift of life, and you start to listen to its guidance, and you know when you're in alignment with its guidance because you get what I call the divine smiles. And the divine smiles is this energy from the heart, and it comes up and it takes over your mouth, and you begin to smile like a Cheshire cat, and you cannot stop smiling no matter how hard you try because your inner beingness goes, you're right where you need to be. Yes. And people get touches of this and they go, I want more, I want more, I want more. And that's the, psst, there is more. But until you're like, if you want to be so mesmerized by duality and it's so, like people get addicted to the emotional drama. Well, when you're no longer addicted to the emotional drama of, oh, what's going on now? Oh, this, and you just go, come on, show me the highest, show me my potential. Let me experience my full potential in this life. But let me do it in a way that is joyous and easy and graceful and beneficial for all sentient life. See, I code for beneficial for all sentient life because when you go from the me to the we, you get more support. And why wouldn't I want to live a life that's beneficial for all sentient life, not just humans? Why can't I walk through this world and be kind to the animal kingdom? Why can't I walk through this world and be kind to the plant kingdom? Because when I became a vegetarian, people said, oh, you know that when you eat a carrot, it screams? Well, now I don't need to take anything and nothing screams. I can be very, it's nice. I like it. Many benefits.
I'm so this coding for all sentient life, and it sounds like there's a specificity when you ask for things and how you would like them to be delivered. And it's funny. It's funny. Just if you don't mind me sharing a story, I'm someone that I think had a lot of that patriarchal conditioning where, yeah, you just don't ask for things. How dare you? And recently, I did have in my inner voice come up in a meditation very clearly. It said, "What do you want?" And I had an exact experience like you described where I was thinking, I could really use a new car. That's just what came up from my head. I was like, show me a new car. And 2 days later, I got in a car accident. My car got totaled, and I just was laughing the whole time because I was like, I created this. And then I called my wife, and she's like, you know what? I really want to get, XYZ type of car, which was the exact type of car that I asked for. And actually we're picking it up tomorrow. And so it was just this like incredible experience of like, wow, like you really need to be specific in the way that you ask for things, or you might get it in a way that is unnecessarily uncomfortable.
You do. Like I always add to coding when we code with people that it all unfold in the perfect way, in the perfect time for you, for your highest good, and with joy and ease and grace. And that's beneficial for all sentient life. I think these are controls. Like you can code AI. I did a lot of work in looking at how we need to code AI. One of the basic codes with AI is that they cannot bring into being anything unless it's beneficial for all sentient life. So keep thinking, keep working, because Asimov's laws are not enough, that no harm for humans, but you can code more. But obviously the coders aren't aware of this. But I spent time in university all night on campus because we didn't have home computers, coding, wrong, coding, wrong, not working, not delivering the outcome. And I learned then that the words are absolutely important because you can code and you get an outcome which could have cost your life, car being totaled, or it could have been, I am asking for the delivery of the perfect car for me, and that it comes in a way that's for my highest good, with joy and ease and grace and blah, 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 blah. Be specific, you know. But a lot of these things is just the universe going, oh, all right, do we have to prove it to you? Here you go. Now learn to code a bit better. Don't you see
Well,
some people
I'm
that
motivated to be a better coder after that experience. That's for sure.
Look, it is, or like you're working with a supreme intelligence, you know. We share the same software as the originating force of creation, and we've got to get it right to deliver what we would like to manifest. And one of the rules is you can code and manifest what you want to a degree, but I like to add another lubrication I call grace. And grace comes in when what you code for, what you're looking for, is an end result that's beneficial for all sentient life. And I go off planet because I code for all sentient life on through all realms, not just the earth plane. I want to make sure that anything I am in this originating point of energy transmission is nourishing through all life, through all realms, through all of creation. Because I'm not interested in just what happens on Earth. I'm interested in the frequency transmission of Earth and its influence on the universes and the multiverses. But then I have different training. You know, I'm hooking into training that what I call the higher light science. And my training is in matrix mechanics. And matrix mechanics is the merging of different realms. And how do you align it up? Because if you get a frequency here and another there, it's like blah, 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 like 2 3-dimensional airplanes. If they crash in the sky, big explosion. But you can get a 3rd-dimensional aircraft with a higher frequency field craft, and they'll pass through each other with a little shudder. So the merging of matrices, I would rather have happen. I want to happen smoothly without any negative fallout. So my science is the study of matrix mechanics and the merging of realms. And that means you have your human ego personality self. And that's a construct from culture, from parents, from experiences, from genetics, from belief systems, from the matrix, Keanu Reeves matrix. And you vibrate there. And then you have the yogi game that goes, turn your senses inward, discover the greater part of who you are, become aligned to your pure, already enlightened nature. And its matrix has a different vibratory pattern. So you've got personality matrix and this matrix, and they've got to merge. And so you don't want to suffer for your divinity. You want to merge back into that part of you with joy and ease and grace. So there is a science to that, and it's called the science of matrix mechanics, which is part of interdimensional energy field science. I'm writing a book about this at the moment.
Wow, amazing. And this is actually something I was curious about as I thought about what would life be like if I didn't need to eat. Like, do you need to sleep less? I imagine your capacity for creativity is off the charts.
This was something I didn't like, and I coded not to do it. I found I would put my body to sleep. I'd wake up half an hour later and I'd go, body, I'll put you to sleep. And it goes, yeah, but I don't need any more. Ta-da! So you've got, like I was running 23 and a half hours of a day awake, and I missed the dreaming. I like dreaming, and I like what I experience in the dream time, because I have a lot of dreams that aren't really dreams, as many people do. And I missed that. So I really had to code to sleep more. But yeah, the creativity. See, people in our networks, they get so fired up and their minds are like, whoa. And we got 20 hours a day or more to play with. So we're either writing music, playing music, teaching ourselves musical instruments, not playing them well, but trying, painting, writing. Our creativity levels are off the roof, that people actually get tired of revving like that. And so then they begin to play with a bit of food, not because they need it, but to kick in the digestive system, to drop their energy so they're less creative, and now they can sleep, at least while they're doing a bit of digestion. So we use food to dull us down, but not to give us energy, because the pranic energy is so pure that your body just, you get stronger, you get more creative, you need less sleep, you get, you think of something and it manifests, and your telepathic abilities can be so intense that you have to shield them because you don't want to be reading the minds of everyone you meet. Because when you tune into the thought streams of people, it's quite shocking what they think. So I screened all that to only connect with beings whose thought forms were beneficial and for my highest good. So you learn techniques to screen, and you learn techniques to be able to put it down and put it up, your levels of creativity. Like, we meet people who've been doing this for a long time, men, and then suddenly they meet a woman and they fall in love, but she's not pranic. And so they go, okay, well, there's the dating game, and she likes restaurants. And so maybe they'll start to take a bit of soups or liquids to socialize or date. Maybe they'll drop a little bit to match more. And then when they're comfortable, go back more to that when their partner's comfortable. Because this isn't about locking into something and staying there. It's about giving yourself a deep enough experience to know without a doubt that this is a freedom for you, and then choosing to work with it in a way that allows you to live your life as a human being on earth. So most of our people never even talk about it because they're very discerning, because they don't want that negative feedback of you're nuts and you can't do this and you're lying, which the public ones get.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it's incredibly brave that you've gone out and shared this information and your experience with the world. It's beautiful, and decided to come back and stay. I know you've had some near-death experiences. What are you excited about for humanity moving forward as you with your decision to watch how it all plays out?
I am withdrawing, and I will probably leave this body in the next 2 years or so, even though I'm fit and healthy. I have another contract. I've got another job. But I will say, and I am working now to complete my legacy of all that I've understood through our online courses. So if people are interested, they can get the data there. But I must tell you, what we see for Earth is brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. You're going to have another 10 years of chaos. All the political systems are being upgraded, the economic systems, the social systems, the health systems. All of the systems need a massive upgrade until they operate for the highest good of all. And millions have coded for this. I mean, here's a code for your people. Let's go. As a citizen of planet Earth, I am now calling for the upgrade of every single system on Earth, from educational, political, social, health, every system, spiritual, everything. I'm asking for an upgrade of every single system on Earth so it operates for the highest good of all sentient life. This is my heart's desire. Make this our experiential truth. Yes, yes, yes. Let it go.
Yes,
now,
yes to that.
Now, millions have done this, so everything's being upgraded. So we're in like a high-speed mixmaster blend right now. Stop looking at the mix that's happening. Get on with just anchoring in the zone of your choice. Come into what Gandhi says, be the change you wish to see in the world, and let it go through its up-leveling process, because by 2050, you won't recognize this world.
That's very exciting as a father of a young daughter to hear.
Yeah. Look, there's stuff happening, but you don't have to align to it. But it is a global ascension time, and everything's being up-leveled. And if people can't handle the heat, they will drop form. I'm dropping form because I will work with Earth, but in a different way. Because many of us, when we drop form, we can continue to support what's going on, but more effectively from another realm. So I've seen my exit, I've seen where I'm going, I've seen everything. I've said yes to my new job, and now I'm just preparing all my family and doing my legacy and bowing out. So very rare for me to do podcasts. But thank you.
Well, it's been an honor. One question that comes up for me is, I think a lot of people they struggle with this, like, why am I here? You know, and I've heard you use the word contract. Um, how do people discover that? What has been your, I mean, it sounds like you're very, very clear on these different contracts. Like it's just a known piece of information. What has been most supportive of you for finding out what that
Look,
is?
people ask me this, and I often, when you're deep in meditation, there's so much that can come to you, but you got to sit still, shut up, and listen and ask. It's like, show me more of my, what I call your predescension blueprint. And in the higher realms, esoterically, they say every time we extend into a planetary system or Earth, it's always about gift exchange. 2 words. You will receive a gift by coming into that star system, that planet, and you will give a gift. The gift is your contract. So a contract is about entering in to give and receive. So if people want to know about that, it's often with what fills your heart with joy and what it makes you feel like, yes, but take it deeper. And that would be, if you could give any gift to your brothers and sisters on earth, or even to Gaia herself, a gift that really makes your heart sing, what would it be? And some people say, oh, I'd like to give the gift of peace. That would be so good. And it's like, well, be peace. Be peace in motion. Here is formula to make you be peace in motion, so your inner beingness can do the doing rather than your monkey mind. So you are the beingness of peace. Or I would love to give more kindness, or I would love to give more love. Well, be love in motion, be love in action, be kindness. Because the more we go into mental constructs, the more our words create division and separation. Like even here, some of your audience is going, what does she mean? And how does that fit with my model? And you can get quite divided and quite, oh, but I don't believe that. But it's not about that. It's about the transmissioning of your essence and transmissioning an energy that up levels and inspires. So when people are in your presence, they go, I like hanging out with that one. That man's nice. Yeah, makes me feel good. Or that woman, yeah, she talked about things, didn't really understand, but geez, I loved her energy. Or, like even a code, like upgrade all my networks. Come on. Unified field, upgrade all my networks, upgrade my family networks, upgrade my business networks, upgrade my community networks, upgrade all the networks so which I connect into, and upgrade them so that I'm part of networks that are always operating for the highest good of all. Lock this in, make this my experiential truth. There's nothing you can't upgrade if you have the thought. The difference between me as a coder for so long and others is I've had thoughts many people have never had. And I've had experiences in life where I've went, how do I deal with this one? How can I code around it or out of it or into something different? And then you work on the words, and then you see the response coming back to you through what I call quantum biofeedback. Everything's mathematical, We don't even have to go on spiritual. The whole of creation is mathematics. So you've just got to work out how to work with the rays of light, the waves of love, the formula within it, clear coding, clear intention, because we are not victims. We are not locked into a patriarchal society of, oh my God, look at the war and what the governments are doing. We control our reality by setting clear intention about how we want to operate as an energy system moving on Earth and beyond. And I refuse. And it's not about ignoring. It's not about burying your head in the sand. It's like, that game is boring. The duality matrix and patriarchal control systems of a limited distribution network where we have starving children, people struggling with war-torn countries and the control games and the war games, I'm just not interested in playing. It's not my movie, it's not my game, so I don't give it attention, and I spend my energy on what I do want to experience on Earth, and I do make sure that I'm involved in creations that unify rather than divide. because we can play it any which way. How do you want to play it?
Well, I think a lot of people listening want to learn how to play it. And so maybe this is a good time to bring this one to a close. If people are excited about the message and some of the inspiring things that you shared and want to learn from you, where can they do that?
Look, we have my jasmuheen.com website, and it will link you to all our online courses. Our online courses, some of them are like for you to work through for 3 months, like source feeding is a result of your frequency. That means you've got to fine tune your frequency through your lifestyle. In fact, refining out of one matrix into another is about your personal keynote and vibration. So all of the tools we have are there so people can access them for as long as they want. We don't have courses that you better do it within a month and then you can't do it anymore. They're forever for you. And it is a matter of setting up a way of listening to the master within, because the perfect guide is within you. Like I say to people, I act as if there are billions of ears listening to me all the time. And that's the quantum field. That's the unified field. And so I talk. You can hear I'm a good talker. And it's like I just act as if it's listening, but I'm very conscious of what I'm asking for. Like maybe a code will be, look, just align me to the perfect channels I need to be aligned to for this final chapter of my life. Bring through me everything that I need to transmission in this world through my courses. That is for the highest good of all. That's all I'm interested in. Make it my experiential truth. And the fields go, okay, master. Like, here's another code. You have the now moment, and then you have this new reality from now into the future. You can code into that how you want to exist. So your intention is from now till when I leave this world, I am asking to be aligned to the channels that will allow me to love being human, to love living life on earth, to be able to love the people I love beautifully, to fulfill what I was born to do with joy and ease and grace, to go beyond the limitation of time and to experience everything in the perfect way and time for me in a way that is beneficial for all sentient life. That's my intention from now to when I access this world. Make this my truth. So you can transcend time limitations, you can expand time, you can contract time, but you have to be clear. How do you want to operate? So the greatest thing is talk to this infinite intelligence, because like I spent 10 years meditating on this one fact. When science says 99.999% of what is an atom is empty space, it was like, no, it's not. Now, I want to know the vibrational spectrum of that empty space, supposedly that's vibrating through my atoms. Show me its attributes. Let me feel its attributes. First, love. Oh, the sort of love that just is like, oh my God, I didn't know love existed like this. The love that gives birth to romantic love and unconditional love, but it's always on and always there. All your hungers go away when you're in that love. And then in that vibrational construct is wisdom and information. It's like, oh, but you got to sit down, shut up, be still and open to hear it. But the most fascinating part of it for me was benevolence. When you look back on your life, you will say, hey, I've always received exactly what I needed when I needed it, not what I wanted, but what I needed. And if that's always happened in the past, why wouldn't it happen in the future? That's benevolence. What is it that's always delivering exactly what we need whenever we need it? And you have history all through your life. Look back. And you have challenging times and you go, I just wanted it to end. But then you look at what gifts you received from those challenging times, and you always received wisdom, hopefully, and virtue. So back to the roles we have to play, everything is about exchanging gifts. Even the most difficult, most challenging person in your life is there to give you a gift, intangible, of more wisdom and more virtue. Always.
Well, I think that's a wonderful perspective. And I agree. It's amazing when you look back and you start to see clearly in hindsight why all the things happened for you. And it's a beautiful thing. And
It's so easy retrospectivity, isn't it? Because you think, oh, I went through that really difficult relationship, or I lost my job, or I got sick, but what did it give me? Oh, it put me on a new course, and then I met that person, and then I got that job, and then this happened, and then I healed myself, and then I decided to become a healer, and oh my God, and you just got to look to see the gifts and the wisdom and the virtues you've gained back through life, and then expect that every single challenge you'll now pass through easier, quicker, because you're looking for the wisdom and the gifts it's going to give you, rather than going, why is this happening? And have a look at my YouTube channel. We have a whole free playlist about source feeding, and the two things we recommend you begin with, which is go vegan and master intermittent fasting before you even look at this, because those things need mastering, and it makes your body healthier, and many benefits for that too. And if they're not things you can master yet, then source feeding's not for you. Not yet. Maybe not ever.